If God wanted mercy and not sacrifice, why did Jesus have to die? That's one of the most powerful objections I think I've ever heard, because it sounds compassionate and even biblical. Micah said it, the prophets said it, even Jesus quoted it. So if God truly desires mercy, not sacrifice, was the cross a contradiction, or the ultimate fulfillment of that very mercy? Here's how many Jewish and secular thinkers frame it. If God values mercy over ritual, why would he demand a bloody death? Human sacrifice is forbidden in the Torah, so why would God require one for forgiveness? And to be fair, on the surface, it makes sense. Micah 6:6-8 sounds like a rejection of sacrifices altogether. With what shall I come before the Lord? Shall I come with burnt offerings? With calves a year old? Will the Lord be pleased with thousands of rams? He has shown you, O man, what is good, to do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. It sounds like God saying, forget the sacrifices, just be kind and humble. But that's not what Micah was saying. He was condemning empty ritual, not atonement. Micah lived in the 8th century BC, during a time when Israel was offering sacrifices while committing injustices, idolatry, and hypocrisy. His rebuke wasn't against the sacrificial system itself, but against using it as a cover for corruption. God was saying, don't bring me bulls and rams while you oppress the poor and ignore my covenant. Isaiah 1 and Amos 5 echo the same idea. I hate your offerings, God says, because your hands are full of blood. He wasn't rejecting the law he himself gave. He was rejecting hearts that used it without repentance. Leviticus 17:11 says, for the life of the flesh is in the blood, and I have given it to you upon the altar to make atonement for your souls. For it is the blood that makes atonement by reason of the life. That verse became the foundation of all Jewish sacrificial theology. Blood represented life, and life was the payment for sin. The entire Levitical system revolved around substitution, the innocent life of an animal given for the guilty life of a person. God never changed that standard. Even after the temple was destroyed in 70 AD, rabbinic Judaism still wrestled with that truth. The Talmud in Moed Katan 28a records, the death of the righteous atones. And in the ancient commentary Leviticus Rabbah 10:6, it says, as the death of the high priest brings atonement, so the death of the righteous brings atonement. That's an echo of the very principles found in Leviticus, the idea that innocent life covers guilt. Psalm 51:16-17 says, for you do not desire sacrifice, or else I would give it. You do not delight in burnt offering. The sacrifices of God are a broken spirit, a broken and a contrite heart. These, O God, you will not despise. David wasn't denying the need for sacrifice. He was showing the order of it. The heart comes first, then the offering. He was saying, God, you don't want lifeless ritual. You want repentance. But once my heart is right, the offering fulfills its purpose. In fact, just a few verses later, David says, then you shall be pleased with the sacrifices of righteousness. When the Romans destroyed the temple in 70 AD, the heart of Judaism, the sacrificial system, was gone. Without the altar, without priest, and without blood, the rabbis faced an impossible question. How can sins be atoned for when there's no sacrifice? Rabbi Yohanan ben Zakkai, one of the survivors, famously said, we now have prayer, repentance, and good deeds. But that was a survival answer, not a revelation from God. It replaced the altar with effort. Yet the Torah had already said, it is the blood that makes atonement. The principle never changed, only the ability to fulfill it did. Before we move on, if you're enjoying this, let me know by pushing the like button, or if you know someone who needs to hear this, share it with them. Okay, back to it. So, when Jesus came, he didn't overthrow the sacrificial system. He fulfilled it. He became the once-for-all atonement that animal blood could only symbolize. And here's where it gets profound. If God truly desires mercy, then what greater mercy could there be than the innocent willingly giving his life for the guilty? That's not cruelty, that's compassion embodied. As Isaiah 53:5 says, but he was wounded for our transgressions. He was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement for our peace was upon him, and by his stripes we are healed. That's mercy through sacrifice, not mercy instead of it. Long before Christianity, Jewish writings already linked righteousness, suffering, and atonement. In 2 Maccabees 7, written over a century before Jesus, the martyred brothers declared, "We are suffering for our own sins, but our suffering may be an example and atonement for our nation." Isaiah 53 was read the same by early rabbis, before Rashi reinterpreted it centuries later. And in the Targum Jonathan, written before the time of Jesus, Isaiah 52 through 53 explicitly calls the suffering servant the Messiah. So even within Jewish tradition, the idea that a righteous sufferer could atone for others was not foreign. It was deeply rooted. When Jesus quoted Hosea saying, "I desire mercy, not sacrifice," he wasn't rejecting the cross. He was explaining it. He was exposing hypocrisy. You can't offer worship without love or atonement without repentance. Mercy is the heart of sacrifice. The cross wasn't God changing his mind, it was God revealing his heart. Because in that moment, mercy and justice met. Justice demands death for sin, mercy provided a substitute. And the blood that once flowed from bulls and goats now flowed from the Son of God himself, once for all. So, if you ever wondered why the cross, remember this. God didn't demand blood out of anger. He offered his own out of love. That's what Micah meant. Do justice, love mercy, walk humbly. But never forget, mercy has a cost, and Jesus paid it. Because in the end, God didn't abolish sacrifice. He became it. That's it for this episode. If you enjoyed it and want more, make sure you're subscribed. I think I'm going to make this an ongoing series. And if you disagree with anything you've heard here, which someone always does, let me know in the comments. Thank you for joining me. Stay blessed, and I will see you next time.